Welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Pod. Your host, Umana, with Jamie Shaw and Joe Tipton on 3. Jamie, how are you feeling today?
Man, things are good. Things are good. A little sore. Tried to go out and play pickup last night. Not young anymore. Body's feeling it today, but I'm ready to talk some hoops. And unbelievable day of games we got today, too, on the basketball side as well. So, ready to rock.
Jamie, I heard you dropped 30 last night.
No, I gained 30 last night. Okay. I felt every bit of all 30 that I gained.
Okay. Fair enough. Joe, how do you feel?
I'm good, man. I didn't play any pickup. No soreness for me. I feel great. 9 hours of sleep. I feel awesome.
The golden child.
There you go. The polar opposite. So our first topic of discussion, freshman power rankings after week 1. Jamie, you got this. You take the floor. I know you wrote an article the other day about how the freshmen have been performing. So give your rankings so far.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I feel like Ani and Joe, this has been the hot topic throughout this entire early part of the season so far. We've only been 1 week, but even through the exhibitions and everything, there's been a lot of discourse about this freshman class. And to their credit, they've been unbelievable. Not even just 5, 10 of them. There's been 25, 30 freshmen that have just really been off the charts with the production that they've been able to bring this college basketball season so far. So this is going to be an ongoing conversation that we see throughout the entirety of the probably of the season as we continue to go. And some of the best players in the game are in this freshman class. But for me so far, when watching these games, the biggest impact for me has been from Caleb Wilson, the UNC freshman, 6'10". His two-way impact on the game, I believe, has been undeniable. He's been over 20 points in both games that he's played so far, but he's also had over 3 assists in both games that he's played. His ability to create advantages on ball while guarding all over the floor has been pretty unique for a player, especially 6'10". You see him in the Kansas game. Obviously, everything's hyped up for that game, and the crowd's going crazy, national audience and everything, but he's diving on the floor for loose balls and just creating havoc on the defensive end while also really creating advantages and doing a lot of stuff on the offensive end of the floor as well. His impact has just been the most impressive through week 1 for me. But not far behind that, I know I was talking to Joe about this as it was happening and all that stuff. Koa Peat's performance, not far behind what Caleb Wilson's done. Caleb Wilson's two-way impact has been impressive so far, but Koa dropping 30 on opening night against Florida for Arizona to win that game was unbelievable. I mean, he's just an advantage creator. It might not be the most aesthetically pleasing thing that you have, but you put the ball in his hand and you can expect something positive to happen on the floor, whether it's one of the 5 assists that he had or one of the 30 points that he had. Backdoor cuts for dunks or pull-up jump shots. It was just an onslaught of winning basketball that we've come to expect from Koa. I mean, 4-time state champion, 4-time gold medalist. He's been playing 17U basketball at AAU since he was 14 and 15 years old. Just it always consistently winning. Joe, I know that you love that game too that you saw. What did you see from Koa in that one?
Yeah, I mean, just like an absolutely dominant performance. I don't know what record he broke. He might have broke all, like, just in terms of freshmen. I think he had 37 and 5, just and doing it against arguably the best front court in college basketball and the reigning champs was even more impressive. And for his first real game of the season, so all in all, he doesn't he's a winner. He's so physically impressive. He doesn't necessarily have that quick twitch or that burst you look for, and you wish he shot the 3 ball a little bit better. But still overall, I can't knock him too much because just watching him just take over that game and doing what he did just to be a freshman, really impressive stuff for him.
For both those guys, just watching positive play after positive play after positive play, elevating the floor of their team. I just think that was on another level for those two with the rest of the freshmen. For me, the third best, most notable performance for the week 1 was Darryn Peterson. I think his impact on the game is undeniable. Pretty high usage for that Kansas team, given what he has around him and the players and pieces that he has around him, but still able to come, 22 points on 57% shooting against UNC. There's a real, I don't want to say, I don't want this to get misconstrued as being NBA or whatever the case, but there's a real professionalism when it comes to his scoring ability.
Yep.
It's really efficient. The footwork, the way he's able to get to his spots and operate. I think there's a real kind of professionalism when it comes to the way that he scores. Now, he needs oftentimes a screen to get into the teeth of the defense, and reads and all that kind of stuff, or second defenders give him a little bit of trouble at time, and there's decision making things that he has. But when he's tasked just to streamline his game and score the basketball, there's some real high level ability that he has in his game that's just unique among his peers.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you when it comes to Darryn Peterson. Like I mentioned it a few episodes ago about how he's just a professional scorer. I I agree also, like, in the games that he played, especially against UNC, like, he needed the ball screen to get to spots. And I really want to see more of, like, more of his, like, bursts and creativity and isolation, which he really has. So I'm interested to see how that looks going forward. I know we've been doing like a top 3 of the power ranking, Jamie, but if you had to go 4 and 5, who's some other guys that are really playing very well and that can be in the mix of the top 3?
Well, it's kind of coming into this season. There was a big 3 that people were talking about: Dybantsa, Peterson, and Cam Boozer. For me, in week 1, I thought that Caleb Wilson and Koa Peat wrestled their way into that number 1 and 2 spot, and I think that they were in this 1 week in a tier of their own when it came to their performances and impact. Darryn Peterson was 3rd for me. AJ Dybantsa 4th, and Cam Boozer 5th. Now that that's not to take away from all the other performances like Nicholas Abdallas, and we had a really, really good game against Providence, and Keaton Wagner, what he's done with Illinois, and a whole bunch of these other guys as well. But AJ Dybantsa, for me, I think that he's in a tier of his own right now in the conversation for number 1 pick in the NBA draft coming up. I don't necessarily think there's anybody else that is in the conversation with him, given what he is and what he's been able to show so far. 6'9", self-creation off the bounce. He's violently attacking the rim, finishing both with power and a little bit of a touch around the basket. I think that his 2 dribble, his game within 2 dribbles is very high level. The only thing that he's really needing to get through is confidence in the jump shot. Getting confidence in that 3-pointer to be able to take it. But he's so easily able to get downhill to the rim and finish at the rim through contact and all that. I've really liked the pace that he's played at as well. Kind of in the first half, allowing all the offense to flow. Second half coming through and just kind of taking over games. So for me, AJ Dybantsa, what he's been able to do, 19 points on 57% shooting so far. I don't think there's any question. Number 1 guy, NBA draft moving forward, looking at him. And then Cam Boozer, even with the struggles that we've seen from him finishing at the rim consistently, with the struggles that we've seen with him against length, scoring the basketball, the production that he's had has been unwavering. He's still grabbing 10 plus rebounds a game. He's still distributing the ball. What Duke uses him as a hub of the offense is pretty fun to watch. Getting the ball to him at different levels, and letting the offense kind of flow through him, letting him make decisions, running cuts off of him, running plays on him, and letting him distribute the basketball. His IQ and his feel for the game is so high that even as he's struggling to finish against length and figure out how he's scoring on the floor consistently, he's still able to produce. He's still able to play toward winning basketball. And it's kind of very unique to see a guy 6'8", 240 pounds, and all that stuff with his feel for the game, his ability to be an offensive hub on the court, run offense through and create open looks and elevate the floor for kind of everybody around him as he's still kind of figuring his own game out.
Joe, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think somebody that we didn't mention that's I'm really excited to see as they kind of grow throughout their freshman season is Kingston Flemings, who had 20 against Towson, who's the CAA favorite, 8 of 10 from the field. So obviously you got, Milos, who's in on that team as well, a couple other elite freshmen, and Chris Senack and Isaiah Harwell. And even Mercy Miller, who I think could take a jump this year. But seeing a guy like Kingston, who I know Jamie has been higher on than almost probably anyone else in the rankings, high school rankings last year. Excited to see what he's able to do, and that's kind of like an honorable mention for me. Especially this early on. in the season, and with him being a freshman and all.
Yeah, Kingston was like someone that I had like in the honorable mention part. I was just like the way he improved his body from high school going into like the gym, like workouts was really impressive. And just like when I went to watch practice, just seeing how he was getting accustomed to Coach Sampson, like quicker than I seen a lot of freshmen, to be honest with you. And so I'm like, okay, I know the point guard position is really hard, especially in college basketball and the higher levels you play. But I loved how his progress was. And so just seeing him score 20, seeing how efficient he was, it was like, okay, it's only a matter of time. People would say, oh, it's Townsend, but like you said, they're projected to win the CAA this year. So like it's a very impressive program. And I thought he did a really good job. I think he's gonna have some up and down games, but I think when we see like him being really comfortable, he's gonna be consistent, gonna help U of A make a run in the NCAA tournament. Jamie, I agree with you, especially with that NBA draft. I think it's really two names when you talk about that 26 with Darryn Peterson and AJ. I still have Darryn one right now, but but AJ, he just so impressive. Like you say, like violently, how he attacks the rim, he gets to his spots, he just covers so much ground. The shooting will come. I know he's only attempted 3 in 2 games, but like you said, I think just a confidence thing. Just continue to get the reps. So AJ's, even though like people are like, oh well, he only shot like 20% from the free throw line against Villanova, but I thought in that second half he really took over. You know, and really get into the rim and finishing and, letting the play develop and get into his spots, which is super impressive. And what I also think was impressive about this freshman class, there's about 4 guys. They could be number 1 overall draft picks in other classes, probably weaker classes, and they would be considered like above average, like number 1 draft picks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talent in this freshman group, and that's why we like discussing about it. That's why we're going to do our power rankings after each week, and just talking about who's been playing well is gonna, is always going to flip flop every week, probably so, because there's just a lot of really good performances. And as these teams are playing, not necessarily conference game, but really high level non-conference games, we're going to see some big time performances from other people.
AJ Dybantsa against UConn this weekend.
Let's go. That's a big one.
That'll be a really fun one.
Right.
Good one. I know producer Carter's going to be up there, courtside watching that one too with his bells on. It's the Carter versus Rob matchup.
Let's go. Oh yeah. So let's get into the next topic. Let's get into some recruiting intel. Joe, you got the floor here. Let's talk about Cam Williams. Just give the rundown on where he's at.
Yeah, Cam Williams is committing on Friday, November 14th, down to 3 schools: Texas, Arizona, and Duke. I think it's ultimately really coming down to Duke and Arizona. He is from Arizona, but I think Duke is at least the school that right now currently has the slight edge in that recruitment. We're still a few days out here, but Duke, like I've said before, when they lock in on a kid, and I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, but they're not recruiting another 4-man in this 26 class.
It depends on what you call stay on Cada, but yeah, they
okay.
Cam's top priority.
Yeah. So that when you're a top priority at Duke, I mean, it's more of a surprise when you don't land the player than when you do. So I think that's where kind of things are at. Duke and Arizona battle. Duke kind of in the lead right now.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Next, Austin Gooseby.
Yep, Gooseby is also committing on Friday, November 14th, down to 4 schools: Texas, BYU, Baylor, and Duke as well. I think when Duke landed Bryson Howard's commitment, I think they were prioritizing Gooseby early, but when Howard went ahead and committed, I think that kind of shifted things. Baylor, I think, is still on the outside looking in. I think it really came down to Texas and BYU, and there's a lot of connections to Texas. His brother's a football player there. I think he's a starting left tackle or a tackle, and I think his whole family tree went to Texas. Like if I'm not mistaken, like mom and dad both went there. Like His name is Austin Gooseby. He's named after the city of Austin. So if you don't choose University of Texas Austin, you know what I mean? Like you're going against what your parents named you. And I think that Sean Miller and that staff have made him a priority and recruited him really hard here down the final stretch. And anyway, so I would say Texas is kind of the leader in the clubhouse right now, as well as we head into his commitment on Friday.
Yeah. And I know the kid, I know Austin is very intrigued with the like kind of creating like his own type of legacy in the University of Texas as well. So yeah, we're all kind of hearing the same that University of Texas is in the lead on that. That's where we all kind of project that that they have the lead and that's where he may go. Next player, Caden Samuels. Talk about where his recruiting process is.
Yeah, Caden Samuels is kind of unofficially down to Georgetown in Alabama. I think he'll make a decision sometime in the early signing period, which starts tomorrow, Wednesday, November 12th, and then will extend until a week later for 7 days until the 19th of November. But I think Alabama has surged here as of late, and they've overtaken Georgetown. I think they're they're front runner right now. And Alabama's class is shaping up very interesting, and still involved with Caleb Holt. Alabama is, regardless of what happens with Caden Samuels. But I think Alabama is the front runner for him right now, as well.
Yeah, and if Alabama picks him up, I know that would be a definite shift in the team rankings, which we'll discuss a little bit later. Last one, so a player that classed up to the 2026 class, Baba Oladotun. Where's his recruitment lie right now?
Yep, he's down to 4 schools: Kentucky, Arkansas, Georgetown, and Maryland. He's committing in a little over a week from now. I think it's actually the last day of the early signing period, November 19th. So next Wednesday, he will decide. There was a lot of early buzz about him staying closer to home at maybe a Maryland or a Georgetown. Virginia Tech was also involved. They recently got cut from his finalists. But I think the school that I'm watching the closest, that it just least makes the most sense to me from an outsider's perspective, is Arkansas, just with all the success that Coach Cal has had with other 5-star players. And I think they were really impressed with their time on campus there. And soon after that visit, kind of narrowed things down and really just focused on a decision. But I do know that there was an attraction for him to stay home, which kind of increase the level of interest in a school like Georgetown and Maryland. But I think Arkansas is kind of the one, at least in my mind, to beat as we head down the final stretch here and his recruitment as well.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, and appreciate that, Joe, a lot on just those updates. But when you talk about like Duke and Texas and Alabama and Arkansas, and this kind of transitions us to our next topic, these the rivals class rankings with the teams.
Mm-hmm.
They land if they land the players that they projected land. I know there could potentially see a shift in those rankings. Jamie, I'll let you take the floor here. You have Arkansas number 1 in the rankings. Talk about why Arkansas and just talk overall about those class rankings so far.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of in prepping for this this portion of the show, I put it in 2 separate groups. So I did the classes that I'm most interested in seeing what they already have together right now, and then classes that could make big moves to become even more interesting with that. The first one, as you mentioned, Arkansas. I mean, Baba Oladotun trending there. You look at that as to what they could already do. They already have JJ Andrews, number 28 in the Rivals 150. They already have Abdou Toure, number 29 in the Rivals 150. In the industry, they're the number 1 overall class on the Rivals industry class rankings right now, with the potential of a Baba Oladotun to come in, with the potential of possibly other guys that they're recruiting as well, maybe like a Brandon McCoy and a couple other guys are involved with this as well who could go later into the process. Looking at what Cal's done, I mean, we all know that Cal's been able to recruit. We all know that, I mean, he's got 2 McDonald's All-Americans with Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff there right now. What he's done at Kentucky speaks volumes of being able to just consistently get high-level classes. Well, he's in line again to have another one. Already sitting at number 1 with home state JJ Andrews, 2-time Peach Jam champion in the last couple of years, and then with high upside Abdou Toure, who's just an explosive wing, just barking with potential. And then Baba Oladotu, who reclassified up into the top 10 of where things are currently at. The shot maker, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", wherever he's at with length and all that stuff. Possibilities of Brandon McCoy. I think they brought Caleb Holden on the campus. There's some other guys too. They're still
Jordan Smith
looking out
Jr.
there. Who'd you say?
Jordan Smith Jr. as well.
Jordan Smith Jr. Like all those guys have been on campus and everything too. So I'm very excited to see where this Arkansas class goes. Also, another school that I'm very interested to see as to where it goes, who I think's had a really good so far, is Michigan State. Michigan State right now, they're sitting at number 12 in the class rankings. Tom Izzo locked in his point guard early with CJ Medlock before he really blew up. Now CJ's at number 66 overall, and the Rivals 150. Just a heady, just the guys that Tom Izzo's had success with at the point of attack. CJ Medlock embodies all of that. Just the mental toughness, the ability to create offense and do all that. But then he also just added Josiah Jervis, the guy who also, when you look at the Tom Izzo's best teams, the Gary Harrises of the world and all that, Josiah Jervis fits that two-way ability of a guy able to stretch the floor and create offense as well. They also have Julius Avent, big physical power forward that just kind of gets in there and does the nasty, dirty work that nobody really likes to do. Avent thrives there, and they're involved with Ethan Taylor as well. So if Tom Izzo's able to come out with that 4-man class, Ethan Taylor, Josiah Jervis, CJ Medlock, Julius Avent, we'll see how things go as Taylor's supposed to commit this week. I think Kansas and Oregon are also involved with him as well. But the 7'1" high upside center, he's a top 2 or 3 center in the class. If Izzo closes out with that, I mean, what a flex. I mean, what a week it's been for him anyway. I mean, beating Arkansas on national television earlier this weekend, you coming in with a however this recruiting class ends up, 70 years old. Izzo seems to be just now hitting his prime. But those are two schools. I have some other schools that I'm impressed with where they stand. But Joe, I kind of want to hear your thoughts too as to who are some schools that you think can make a big move and really work through the signing day.
Well, one that I'm initially impressed with that we have number 2 overall is Missouri. You're not your traditional blue blood, but have Jason Crow committed a 5-star and Tony Bryant, who's a high 4-star, and then Aiden Chronister as well. So you got a 3-man class there, and I think they brought in maybe it was 1 or 2 years ago, but they brought in a massive high school class previously as well. So they're still recruiting high schoolers. So love to see that, but really impressed with what they've been able to do. Landing these top talents. It's not surprising when Kansas and UConn and Duke and Kentucky and Arkansas have these top classes. When you got Mizzou number 2 overall, we even got Miami 5th overall with 1 commitment in Caleb Gaskins, but who's number 3 in the Rivals top 150 right now. So impressed with what Jay Lucas has been able to done in year one there. And then Ohio State at 6 with Anthony Thompson and then Alex Smith. So really impressed with them. But in terms of schools that I think could move up, like we see Duke at 7 right now. Don't think they'll stay at 7. Like obviously in a pretty good spot with Cam Williams, still involved with Jordan Smith Jr., right? And even a Deron Rippey. And I might even be missing somebody else. And then obviously have Bryson Howard committed. But I think they're one that could definitely move up. And then like you mentioned, Arkansas. They may not be done yet. If they do, maybe they don't get Baba, but Coach Cal's going to get his. Like he's going to get a couple of 5 stars every year. Like you don't count him out. Don't doubt him at all. Like he'll get it done come hell or high water. But I think that's kind of where things are at least in my eyes.
Yeah, you mentioned Missouri, Joe. I think Missouri. What I've been wildly impressed with how they've gone about this class, building the relationships with the players and able to get them locked in early, despite all the other people that came in. But also, I think the positional fits. Obviously, they had the high numbers beside their names with Jason Crow and Tony Bryant. They have the high numbers beside their name in the rankings, but the positional fit as to what they bring and how Dennis Gates plays, I think is going to be very interesting with how this Missouri grows. Obviously, the rankings are based on the numbers. The rankings are based, the team rankings are based on the player rankings.
Yeah.
But I think you add the added factor of positional fit. Dennis Gates likes to get up and down the floor. He likes to have multiple guys who can create offense. He likes to press and run. And you have a big man like a Tony Bryant who can move his feet, slide, open his hips, and he can guard multiple spots on the floor, full court. And you have a Jason Crow who's a lethal scorer from everywhere inside the half court. I think those two guys, and then you have the shooting upside of an Aiden Chronister as well. The Missouri class is one that I'm going to be tracking over the next couple of years to see, how those guys play out, because I think that could be a very, very positive outcome. And kudos to Dennis Gates and his staff for securing those guys, for beating out what they did, for the high level prospects they did, but also the positional fit is very intriguing with what they bring. So I'm all in on that Missouri one.
One school that is not on there so far because they haven't had a commitment. It's Kentucky. Where do you guys think they could potentially end up when it's all said and done?
I think they can. I think it's a surprise if they don't have a top 10 class, and if it would be even. And I don't even think. I think a top 5 class is reasonable. Like if you think about heavily involved with Christian Collins, think they're trending there for him. He's a top 10-ish guy in the class, right? Still involved with Tyron Stokes, who's taking his time in this recruitment, and then even Caleb Holt, they're heavily involved with as well. So even if you get just 2 of those guys, 2 5-stars, that's probably a top 5 class, top 10 class, pretty comfortably.
Jamie?
Yeah, no, they spread a pretty wide net, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of the moves they make right now as we come down the final stretches. They've been trending, as Joe said, for Tyron Stokes for a decent amount of time now. It's going to be interesting to see how we kind of move forward, or not how they move forward with the class, because as Joe mentioned, Christian Collins, Caleb Holt, 2 very good players in their own rights. Christian Collins' decision coming relatively soon, it sounds like, and there's some momentum there as well. So, if they end up with 2 there, or if they end up with even with 1 of them, I mean that's gonna be a good class finalized with. Another class that I'm very interested in seeing, and I think Oklahoma State's done a really good job with this class, locking in Latrell Allman, who's number 31 in the rivals, but also Jalen Montnati and Parker Robinson. Montnati, obviously, his dad played there, multiple time Oklahoma State Player of the Year shooter. And then Parker Robinson is a very under the radar guy, averaged 10 a game this summer with Team Takeover. Comfortable as a secondary type of initiator as well as a shooter. Has a lot of stuff to his game. The physicality and what that class brings with Latrell and Parker, and then you have the shooting gravity, former gold medalist with FIBA stuff with Jalen Montnati. Very intrigued to see how this Oklahoma State class goes. And then Vanderbilt is another class that I think did very well. You have Ethan Mbako, younger brother of Mackenzie Mbako, number 65 overall. 6'5", he's just a scorer. I mean, he just knows how to score the basketball. 19 a game this summer. He's just wired to score the basketball. You have Ant Brown, also wired to score the basketball. Team Durant this summer also averaged 19 a game. Just a very crafty guy with the ball in his hand, able to create advantages for his team consistently. And then Jackson Sheffield, one of them Alabama boys, just a physical presence, man. Like he is just all about the stuff around the rim. He tries to tear the rim off every time, just chases every loose ball, chases every rebound, tries to block shots, and just is a huge presence around the basket with big upside as he continues to go. And seeing what Mark Byington's done, he's getting some top 25 love in the rankings now with his Vanderbilt program. And he's going to have a class that I think fits what he does with that up-tempo style and a big that can guard multiple spots and everything as well. But I think Oklahoma State and Vanderbilt are 2 classes that were put together pretty well here, that we could see the future as to what Lutz is building at Oklahoma State and then what Byington is building at Vanderbilt.
Makes a lot of sense. The experts, Jamie and Joe. So guys, we got to end this pod. We'll see you at the next episode. Enjoy the rest of y'all's day.